No, no. Coach, 10 straight home victories. This is the importance. Again, you touched on this several times this year about defending the home court, making sure you take care of business there, and then you get another opportunity here tomorrow.
We've got to play really, really hard, and we need our fans' help. We need Dog Nation to come out and support us as they've done, and numbers have grown. The enthusiasm in the arena has increased. The decibel level has continued to increase, which has helped us down the stretch, especially defensively when you need big stops to win big games in this league. They're all tough to come by. They're even harder to come by on the road. Fortunately, we've strung together some here at home. And it'll be really difficult to get another one tomorrow against a Vanderbilt team who's very, very good. We'll have to play really well.
In what ways have you seen the town buy into this team, whether it's at Stagman or around town, stuff like that? Have there been any examples that stand out to you?
I couldn't comment around town. I don't get out much.
I don't either.
You know, I know how to get to Stegman and back home and back to Stegman the next morning. But you can tell, again, the numbers have increased in terms of who's coming to games and the excitement. And, our students have been good, and we look forward to continuing to try to increase some of that attendance. And we've got a work cut out for us, and it's a build, of course. But late in some of these games recently, our crowd's been a bigger and bigger factor. It seems like every game, and we need that. We need that desperately, especially in this league.
Mike, what stands out to you about this Vanderbilt team and the things they do well coming in tomorrow?
First off, they run really good stuff. They just do. They're very difficult to prepare for because they run a bunch of different stuff. They're deep. They can shoot the three from a number of spots. Starters, guys coming off the bench. They got to get. I don't know this for a fact, but if you look at it, I got to think they're getting as much bench production offensively as any team in our league, or right there with the conference leaders. Very physical. Stingy defensively. They play a unique style of defense. They're really good. They played a really tough schedule, and they've been in some of their losses against high-level teams. They've been right there, and they continue to get better year in, year out. The coach had a build. He had a build there, and this is as good as they've played. And again, we're going to play really well to beat them.
Coach, I'm Brandon Sledge for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I wanted to ask you about Charles Mann. Can you kind of take me through the process on how you guys were able to land him? And,
Sure.
And as a former player and alumnus, what has been his value to the program?
He's been unbelievable. I love Charles Mann. You said take me back, and I'll take you back a long time. When we were at Louisiana Tech, and we came in here and had to prepare for him, and then our first couple years at Florida, preparing to try to defend him and get around him. He's a good defender as well. An all-league player, a guy that's amongst the leaders, like in the history of our league, I believe, in free throws attempted. Is that right? Is that the right number? Second in our league. So a lot of time behind Pistol Pete. Wow, pretty good player there. So that's pretty good company for Charles Mann, to be involved with. And so, as a joke, every once in a while, if I'm walking past Charles, I might just jump, just simulating him shot faking me. Like, he was just unbelievable at getting in the paint, just shot faking. He had a knack for getting to the line. Really good player, really good young professional, a talented guy with high-level character. A guy that we just started developing a relationship really through text a few years ago for whatever reason. I think he reached out initially just because we had the intra-conference battles. And then when I was afforded this opportunity, he reached out immediately. We communicated there for about a month and drove down to campus, went through a quick little process. Really fortunate. Brings a lot to the table to answer your next question. Positivity, experience in this league, mentorship, for our young men, basketball thoughts, recruiting prowess and work capacity. I mean, he's really good at what he does, and he's a great teammate. The rest of the staff loves him. We've got a really good staff. He's a big part of it.
And then if I can follow up on that as well, I mean, Kenny Gaines, and he's kind of telling me how Charles was a big part in bringing him here. So what's his value to the program as a graduate assistant, and how important has it been to have two alumni, two former players on your staff?
It's been unbelievable. I mean, he's Kenny Gaines is terrific in his own right. They have their own separate personalities. They're very different. They're very close. At times, it's like they're two peas in a pod. When you walk into the gym sometimes, and you can tell they're telling old stories to each other, and they get along really, really well. But they're also they have their own unique personalities, and they bring different strengths. Kenny's an older soul. He's a guy that is a little bit misleading that he's a GA. Because you think GA, you think 23 years old, 24 years old, and he's got a high level of maturity and that overseas experience. Again, another All-SEC guard, a guy who's just as talented. Both of those guys are, if they choose to do so and continue to work, are going to have long careers. Hopefully at Georgia for a long time. In this profession, they're both really good. Different type players, of course. He wasn't drawing as many fouls, but man, you had to guard him about 30 feet, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mike, it was announced yesterday that Mike Brey will retire after this season. Did you have a chance to interact with him at all back in December before or after that game? And what is the sport going to lose with him stepping away at the end of the year?
Awesome human being, humility, so underrated as a coach. I saw something today, and I started saying, and I should probably stop myself, but there was some headline about how many years? 22 years, whatever. This many years at Notre Dame, but never got to a final. I mean, are you kidding me? The guy won 1 million games. My brother played for him. I know what type of human being he is. I've heard him speaking to his team. What a role model, what a mentor. Did a lot for that institution. Does it the right way. I know that firsthand. I'm a huge fan. He's one of my favorite guys, in terms of a younger coach. Who do you admire in this profession? So I was a little bit sad when I heard the news yesterday. I called my dad on the way home. Dad, you okay? Because it's a big deal for him too. But the best hire that my father's ever made, and I'll continue to admire Coach Brey. Small talk right before the game and right after the game, and then little bit of texting, in those following couple days.
Mike, and from going back and looking at the film from the second half against Kentucky, again, was it just more about number 34? Were there other areas you were kind of disappointed in with your team, or just more of what we did?
Disappointed myself, disappointed, in all of us. We just didn't do a good enough job to be competitive down the stretch. I mean, we were really good in the first half. Still had some defensive stuff and some lack of physicality and defensive rebounding in the first half, which really took a turn for the worse in the second. You look back immediately right after the game, I said, we should have doubled them more. And that's something, we'll consider moving forward really with all bigs.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it depends on time and score and flow of the game and all those things. But so many of those points, he just went and got off the glass. And he's just really, really good. He's really good. We didn't do a good enough job on him to even be competitive. But Oscar Tshiebwe is special. I mean, I don't know that there's a better offensive rebounder in the history of the game, at least since I've been watching the game. I don't know how you block the guy out. He's incredible.
Coach, what has Jalen kind of meant to this program? Obviously, he's not getting many minutes. He's coming back, working full to 100%.
Yeah.
But just what kind of role has he taken on this season since he's been back?
A leadership role, a locker room voice, a voice of reason. What he says holds weight, continues to do so. He's been frustrated at times. We're in a sport where you've got 13 guys, most teams on scholarship, and a couple walk-ons. You got numbers, and you can only play 5. And he wants opportunities, of course, and he's earned some. And he's got to continue working to earn more. He's had some big moments for us, though. There was a couple games that if he doesn't play the way he plays, we don't win those games. And he's continuing at the same time to get back to 100% physically. And credit is his work ethic. I mean, what he's been through, I can't imagine. 3 times what he's been through, and then the minor thing that he had to set him back a couple months on top of that third major surgery. But he's got great feel, high basketball IQ, throwing his body around with reckless abandon. In fact, the best blockout we had in Rupp was Jalen Ingram late first half, right in front of our bench on Oscar. If we had a bunch of those, maybe he gets 20 instead of 24.